Greetings and welcome to the 5th episode of Morrowind Modding Manors, a series dedicated to looking at a variety of house mods across Vvardenfell, both popular and underrated, as we try and find your dream home in the lands of Resdayn. As always, I'm your host Elfcoy, and I do have a quick announcement to make. The 50th episode of Morrowind Modding Showcases should be online tomorrow, or perhaps the day after that. There's been a bit of a delay, but the only thing left to do now really is the narration and audio editing. So hopefully I can get that to you all sometime tomorrow evening, though I do have a bit of a sore throat right now, so that's a bit up in the air. In the meantime, we do have 3 pretty unique and some fairly obscure house mods from Morrowind today, and as always, you can find download links for each one down in the video description below. So the first house mod that we're going to be looking at today is Abandoned Estate by Templar PSI. And this is a small estate out in the Grazeland region of Eastern Vvardenfell, and more specifically, it's a Nordic-style manor sitting atop one of the numerous hills in this region, making for a rather striking abode, especially given the amount of exterior detailing going on here. This estate is surrounded by a lovely ring of gardens, including towering trees and fire pits, which make for a bit of a dramatic lighting effect, especially in the evening to nighttime hours. And as we said, that there's really some pretty fantastic views of the Grazelands region up here, with a tall overlook that you can appreciate via the comfort of a couple of chairs provided to enjoy the view with. And suffice to say, this is a fairly unique mod, and it is an older mod as well. It was originally released in 2003, I believe, so as you might expect, a lot of the design decisions here are a bit different from what you might find in a more modern house mod, I would say. But you'll see more of that in a moment. Real quick, I did just want to show off the stables right there, where you can store horses or gores if you have them. And inside you'll find a small foyer, and you'll see pretty quickly what I mean about an older style of housing design, as this mod incorporates a wide variety of architecture styles and different types of furnishings, something which isn't, as popular today, but used to be pretty common in the early 2000s, especially with housing mods. And in any event, you'll find a large dining room in the main hall, including a small lounge to the side, which also comes with a number of bookshelves and a cozy fireplace, and there's also a small bar and counter area on the opposite side of the room, and of course there's a bit of a shrine here towards the middle of the back of the room with, several altars and shrines that you can use. And this is also where you'll find a teleport ring that you can use to get back to your estate at any time. And even though this is an older style of housing mod, I actually think it's, pretty cozy and atmospheric, and there's clearly some attention to detail made when furnishing this estate. And anyway, you can see some of that here in the library and study, which is just, wonderfully furnished with a lot of potted plants, some pre-decorated bookshelves and the like. And you can also see a small kitchen here, which really doubles as a sort of, smaller dining room, pantry, and kitchen all wrapped into one. And this is probably one of my favorite rooms in this house mod. You've got a lot of, natural dividers to make the room feel more cramped and detailed with potted plants and bookshelves. And there's a lot of cool designs in here, in particular with the Dwemer oven and some of the background decorations that you can see towards the back here. It's a really pretty unique and cozy room, and up on the second floor, you'll find the master bedroom, which includes another warm and roaring fireplace, a small study area, some bookshelves, and a private dining space. Now, you might notice that a lot of these rooms are already partially pre-decorated, but you can tell that there's still, a fair amount of space to place your own items if you so desire. And there's also a small storage room on the property, and although it doesn't have, much display space, it does have plenty of containers that you can use to store items. And in conclusion, Abandoned Estate is a unique and scenic home in the Grazelands with a cozy and atmospheric design, albeit dated by today's standards, and it does include a number of convenience features like a teleport ring, temple altars for curing disease, some storage and display space, and, let's not forget the amazing views of the Grazelands available from the back gardens. It does have a pretty long commute though. The nearest town is Voss, and it isn't exactly, close to Voss, so you'll be in for a bit of a trek on your first trip. Still, this is a lovely pre-decorated and underrated home that's well worth your attention if you really like some of the older housing styles on the market, or if you just want a house that's out in the Grayslands region. This is perfectly right up your alley. And moving on, next up we have Heather Cottage by Shezrie, and this is a fairly lovely and sort of idyllic little cottage out in the Ascadian Isles region, with some charming gardens that naturally have a lot of heather in them, as the name of the mod would imply, naturally. And, truth be told, this is a fairly popular housing mod. I think most people are probably familiar with Shezrie's work to some extent. She's made a number of high quality mods for Morrowind, Oblivion, and, even Skyrim. And Heather Cottage certainly shows a lot of skill. You can see the interior here, and it really is quite lovely, with a cozy atmosphere, including a lounge with a roaring fireplace, a master bedroom, and also a full-size kitchen on the first floor, all of which is, pleasantly decorated with some beautiful paintings with potted flowers, adding a touch of colour to the environment. And you can see the kitchen here. It's small and quaint, and really this entire house mod is, kind of just quaint and cozy. And down below the master bedroom, you'll find a dressing room, including several closets, dressers, and bookshelves for shoes for you to peruse and store your clothing-related items in. And Heather Cottage also includes a full-size basement, including a small alchemy lab, with a fair amount of alchemical equipment available that you can use to, make potions, but nothing too overpowered, and there's also a small study space. And there's also a larger storage and display hall for keeping most of your items in, with dozens of chests and crates for storage, and 2 display tables. And don't worry, those swords that you see decorating the walls are, actually fakes, so they won't overpower your character or anything like that. And the last thing I'm going to show off here is that there's a small portal room included with this house, with, doors that automatically take you to any of about 7 different cities across Vvardenfell, which is a feature that a lot of house mods have. But anyway, all in all, Heather Cottage is a beautiful and scenic smallish sized house mod with a lot of charm, some excellent landscaping, and a cozy interior. It does come with a number of convenience features such as an alchemy lab, display hall, a portal chamber, and, lots of storage. And the commute is a bit long again. Heather Cottage is on the road between Pleasiad and Balmora, but it isn't really, near either of them, so you'll have to hike it a bit. And that said, this is a very charming abode that's easy to recommend for players who just want a simple and scenic place to live. And it is a really beautiful location there, snuggled into the Ascadian Isles region. Finally, we have our last house mod of the day, and this time around it's Villa Fortuna by TextureFreak. And this is a fairly modest-sized manor across the lake from the city of Suran, done in the Hladu architectural style. And it also includes a fairly extensive docks. It's very much a lake or riverside house, with some fishing gear and a rowboat off to one side. You could even call it a slightly nautically themed manor, only on a lake instead of an ocean. And this is another, fairly well-known house mod, I think. TextureFreak is another one of those, decently popular authors, at least, back in the early 2000s. I don't know if they've made any more recent mods, but suffice to say, this is one of the, of those, older classic housing mods that used to be around. And inside on the first floor, you'll find an entry hall that's been decorated with lots of flowers, which, could also double as an ingredient garden. And off to the side, you have a small sort of lounge area where the floor has been lowered for a seating area. And you'll notice this is a pretty unique house mod. It utilizes a unique retexture of the Hladu tile set, and includes a lot of, sort of Persian-themed architectural room designs that are more common around the Eastern Mediterranean. You'll also find a small, skooma lounge on the first floor here, where you can, entertain company while partaking in one of Vvardenfell's more dangerous drugs. And to top off the first floor here, there's also a small study which again has a bit of a nautical theme to it, with a model ship, a sextant, and what appears to be fishing nets coming down from the ceiling. I probably don't need to point this out, but Villa Fortuna does come with quite a few different unique items, like the pots and vases that line the stairwell, or the paintings on the wall, or any of a number of other miscellaneous items, and most of these can be picked up and rearranged if you so desire, but they do add to the house's, sort of unique themed quality. And going downstairs, we have the villa kitchen, which is, fairly small and cramped, but includes a roaring fireplace and a small preparation area. And also downstairs, you'll find your personal quarters, which includes a large bathing chamber with a shallow pool, not to mention some decorative statuework. And you also find a towel rack with lotions and soaps for you to use. And your personal quarters also includes a small dining room-like space that doubles as a lounge of sorts, including a dining room table, bookshelves, a cozy fireplace, along with some more painting to the sea, further going along with that sort of nautical theme that the house has. And naturally, there's also a master bedroom, which includes a rather large bed, plus 2 large fireplaces to keep your quarters nice and warm, even during the coldest of Vvardenfell nights. And the last thing to show off here, this villa does come with a small guest bedroom that you can use for company or for a companion if you have one. And in conclusion, Villa Fortuna is a lovely sort of nautical themed house with a lot of unique character and designs that remains, fairly atmospheric and cozy. It does include a storage hall, which was not shown in this video, as well as a guest bedroom for companions and a quick commute to Suran, which is, just across the lake, as well as some modest display space areas and a lot of neat little details that make this a rather unique home. If you're on the market for a fairly small to mid-sized manor with a bit of a nautical theme and lots of unique items, this one might be worth checking out. And in any event, that pretty much wraps up all the mods that we have for this episode, so thanks for watching, and do remember to check back next time for another batch of mods for your viewing pleasure, as well as the 50th episode of Morrowind Modding Showcases.